And we are live for the big one in the Women's Supa-Liga A between the West Coast Cobras and the Western Devils. The matchup today, some big names on either team sheet and some big names missing, especially for the Western Devils. No Nell Clayton, Andy Priado. But we will quickly run through the lineup for the Western Devils. We've got Laura Waltman starting with the number 5. Lauren Baker on the near side on the right. Kim McCartney, Cora Buxey, Nina Borman, and April Nassette. And we've got Becky Musleri in goal. And for the West Coast Cobras, Annie Leyland, Crystal Jade Brooke, Frankie Murray, Shelby Cochran and Emma Yillas on the near side just there, and then we will tell the subs as they roll on. I'm joined in the commentary box by Ben O'Brien. He's subbed in for the big game. We've got rid of John Goodlich.
Of course.
Ben, thanks for joining us. Any predictions early on?
With the Devils missing a couple of players and the last lineup being a Cobras win, I actually think the Cobras have got this. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I am a Cobra myself, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't biased, so I'm hoping and I'm thinking Cobra's 3-0 win. I talked to both managers before, and Amanda Lynch of the Western Devils thinks that they're going to get up 3-1. Gus Fontana thinks they're going to get a 2-0 win, so pretty even game all around for all predictions. That was an early chance there for Kim McCartney. Obviously adds a bit of spice. She is an ex-Cobra herself, left in the transfer window. Obviously wanting to see glory, and I don't think that touched anybody, so it won't count. Borman and McCartney thought they had a goal, but the Cobras are getting on with it. Maybe trying to catch the Western Devils cold. It was the West Coast Cobras who had a fairly easy route to the finals, but so did the Western Devils, saying that the West Coast Cobras dismantling the Northern Hawks 8-3 on aggregate. That was a good idea there from Lauren Baker, and the Western Devils got up, I think, 8-1 on aggregate over the Andinas Futsal Club. So both teams comfortably going into this grand final, and I think it is going to be quite an entertaining game. The energy's high after we've just seen the Condors men winning the Super-Liga B. There was a big crowd here, so I know the girls are definitely up for it. It's Crystal J. Brooke on the far side. She switches the play to Frankie Murray, who's been a great addition this season. Just coming in from the Andinas. That wasn't one of her better efforts from the past, but she's one to watch out for, the number 12. A bit of a live wire.
I don't know if you've been watching many of the games here, Luke, but it seems like Cobras are doing a 4-0. Have you seen that they've played 4-0 very often?
Yeah, I know they do train it every now and then. I think they may be trying to counteract the Western Devils. If you can even have a look at the recent form, it normally is all Devils, but the West Coast Cobras got up 1-0. I think about a month ago now, and they did play a lot of 4-0 that day, so then maybe they think it's the Western Devils' kryptonite, trying to draw them in and go long. Maybe we'll see how that progresses, and obviously the West Coast Cobras do possess a lot of young players. I think they've got 3 14-year-olds on the bench, EJ Silver, Tatem Spencer, and as we say that, Waltman, Robs, Cochran, number 5, and Laura Waltman. Annie Leyland probably should have done better there. Waltman squeezed it past her. That was a great finish from Laura Waltman. I dare say the best women's player in Western Australia. You can see there Cochran was lazy, give the ball away, and Laura Waltman off the right. Leyland wanted to watch that again. She probably could have done better, but there we go. That's the quality of Laura Waltman. She can turn the game on its head in an instant. Great ball there from Jade Brooke. Becky Musleria kicks that on its touch. We were saying that West Coast Cobras do have a lot of youth, and here's one of them now on the ball. That's EJ Silver. She's wearing the number 8. Also featured in the Women's Super-Liga Bay final loss earlier on today. So she will be wanting to get at least one win today. Frankie Murray's got to be careful there. Well done there from Kim McCartney. Gives it back to Waltman. McCartney, that's a great ball. Nina Borman on the far side. Good idea there from Borman. I think the one thing that I'd say that the Cobras have got the advantage of, they've got the depth. They've got, I think, 5 subs off, at least 4 on the bench.
Yes, and I think if they go long and if they press hard, then they've got the man advantage. As Fighty McKell would always say before a current game, look at the numbers on the bench and press them out of the game.
Yeah.
Was Fighty a very experienced coach in leading Curtin to certain victories. Yes, and I think so far Cobras have actually been on top despite the scoreline. They've been holding majority of possession and moving the ball well, so we'll see if they can continue with this.
Yeah, I think they might try and press the Western Devils out of the game, especially going into the back end of the match. They'll just want to keep it tight and keep in it. Obviously 1-0 isn't too much of an issue, but if it gets any further on, you'll start to worry, especially in a grand final, as they normally are tight affairs. And Becky Musleria in the goal for the Western Devils is a very, very capable keeper. Western Devils roll their first sub. Lauren Baker has checked out and April Nassette has checked in, the number 4. I think she plays her outdoor football with Balcatta Women's. She's a very good player from what I'm told. Hanky Murray at the back now. Brings it forward. That's a dangerous ball through the middle. And Waltman, as there we can see, Waltman robbed her, and she's actually won the ball here. I think Kim McCartney might go for a blast off the right. The ex-Cobra. Waltman never actually touched that ball. That probably should have been a turnover, but no appeals. McCartney one-on-one with Jay Brook. McCartney runs out of real estate. So I don't think Kim McCartney's actually won the Women's Supa-Liga, unless she was a losing finalist a few times with the Cobras. A losing semi-finalist as well, so she'll be wanting to get one over her old club and get her first piece of silverware in some time. And here we are, the subs are rolling for Cobras. That's Lauren Compton-Abali, the number 2. She'll be wanting to add a bit of energy. She's very experienced. I'd say probably the longest serving Cobra behind Annie Leyland. Kim McCartney, that one's come off her shin.
Of course, we mentioned that the Devils are missing a number of players. Who would you say is crucial for this game here, Luke, for the West Coast Cobras?
For the West Coast Cobras, I think you've got to look at people, even though her young age is EJ Silver. She's been exceptional for the West Coast Cobras. I think she's scored 4 or so goals this season. But not just that, she's very, very energetic. And then other players, I'd say Compton-Abali, one of my favourites in the Women's League. She's a bit of a live wire. So I think we've got to look out for them too. And for the Western Devils, you'll be wanting to look at Laura Waltman, the number 5, as I did have a quick chat with Lauren Baker, one of the leadership players for the Western Devils, and she said Laura Waltman can win the game on her own, and she's not wrong. This is Sam Brady. She's another one of the 14-year-olds we mentioned earlier, so a lot of youth for the West Coast Cobras, mixed with a bit of experience. It's a nice balance on the court at the moment. Silver, Murray, pass left her short, and McCartney's battling with Murray. Silver's there to mop up the danger. They've left the middle open there, the West Coast Cobras. They won't want to do that too often. McCartney gives it away. Sam Brady. Nina Borman goes to the back heel. She's another ex-West Coast Cobra, Nina Borman. She's been with the Western Devils for some time, but was a Cobra once. Nice idea there from Waltman. And that's just the quality of Laura Waltman. She gives the ball away, but she always seems to get it back. The ball just seems to follow her around the court. And we've got our first time out of the game. So 8 minutes in, Ben. How do you think the game's gone so far?
As much as the scoreline would suggest that the Devils are in front, I do believe it's actually Cobras that are on the front foot here, holding majority of the possession. And I think the fact that Laura Waltman is playing at the back of the field shows a lot of the threat. Laura Waltman last game played majority of her time at the target, using her skill to try and beat a player one-on-one and isolate, but they obviously respected that, the West Coast Cobras that much that they're sitting her back at the back of the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not a bad tactic, to be honest, because Waltman does control the game. She's got a very dangerous left foot, and she's got quite a powerful shot, so even if she is at the back, she can get an inch of space, and she can shoot from more or less anywhere. What do you think the West Coast Cobras have got to do to get back in this one?
I think actually give their youth a bit of a try. Try and get them to exploit their young legs and keep doing their 4-0. It seems to be working. It seemed they were slipping back to the 3-1 a little bit there, maybe out of habit, but the 4-0 is definitely opening up spaces. It's getting the Western Devils pretty tired, and we just got to continue that for the rest of the game, and maybe they can run their legs out.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the Western Devils have got to be, I'd say they've got to be very careful that they don't almost press themselves out of the game, because if they try and run at the Cobras, they will run out of legs. Obviously the Cobras not just having youth, but they've also got a big bench. So it's going to be a bit of a game of chess for the Western Devils. They've got to play this one smart. I think a 1 or 2-0 deficit will be the most if they are to get the win. But the West Coast Cobras, I dare say they might try and just stick in the game till about half-time, maybe for the first 5 in the second half, and then try and run over the Western Devils. Obviously, easier said than done, but
and
can happen.
Just as I was saying about Laura Waltman at back fixo, she was just lined up as target. So maybe during the timeout they've identified Laura to isolate her as target.
Which is interesting because Coral Buxey has just come on, the number 31 for the Western Devils. Actually is a out-and-out target, and April Nassette's been robbed there from Sam Brady. Her cheat was in there. That was one of the first times the Cobras have gone forward and tripled the goalkeeper at all. Continental Bali, that wasn't a bad effort from the number 2. Bit wide. No danger for Osleria in goal.
Devils certainly taking their time to get this ball restarted. Maybe they've spoken about that game management we spoke about earlier.
That was a good poke there from Waltman to Buxey. We were saying she is a bit of an out-and-out target, maybe a specialist. Waltman, you can see Waltman is just controlling the game. It's almost being played at her tempo, which is very, very fast. Continental back to Brady. Continental at the back. Brady. Good composure there from Sam Brady. Tatem Spencer. So they've got the young brigade on at the moment. 3 14-year-olds and Continental. What a ball that was from Tatem Spencer, but Buxey was all over it. Spencer's left Kim McCartney all alone. McCartney one on with Spencer. Spencer as well. Continental can break here. Decides against it. Starts running in circles, and that's not going to cut it at this point from Continental, but you can see there they've got to follow their men, the West Coast Cobras, because you don't want to leave Kim McCartney all alone. So
I think the Cobras press so far is working very well. They're isolating the player against the ball, and they're marking out the game well. It seems that if this momentum continues, you'll see a couple dispossessions, and we've seen the chances come from it.
Yeah, I mean, you can see, like you said, Ben, that the West Coast Cobras, the young girls, are really doing a good job of pressing some of the Western Devils. You can see there Brady's causing a bit of trouble, and Spencer's doing well as well. And here we go, Tatem Spencer linking up with Silver, but there she is again, Laura Waltman, all over it, and she goes past Spencer. This would be a great counter-attacking goal, but Buxey's pass lets her down on this occasion. But you can see there, Laura Waltman, how dangerous she is. Continental at the back, looks up. Spencer, good hold-up play and does well to poke that one through. Sam Brady, what a ball that is to Continental. She's battling with Waltman. Waltman having absolutely none of it. McCartney, Waltman directing traffic. Good touch there from April Nusset. McCartney goes past 2. Kim McCartney, and she's run out of real estate. I think she wanted that one on her right foot, but she couldn't quite get it on. What I am surprised about, Ben, is that Emma Yilas featured for 2 minutes at the start, and she's yet to come back on.
Yes, very important play for the Cobras. Very much dictates the game, but she does usually play in a 3-on system, so maybe this is just the coach acknowledging the change of system.
Yep.
And you've also got, maybe she's saving her for when Laura Waltman goes off.
Perhaps. I would say that Laura Waltman won't come off. I think she normally runs out in most games anyway, but especially with only 2 on the bench, I imagine she will play this whole game. Nossette was marshalled well there from Brady, and that's going to be a Cobras ball. EJ Silver at the back gives it to Sam Brady. Brady wide to Spencer. So you can see how much trust that Gus Fontana puts in the young girls. It's good from Fontana. You like to see the youth playing, especially in the biggest game of the season for the women's.
And they've deserved it.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
they've gotten on the top 3 for goals and goal contributions, with EJ Silver with 7 appearances and 4 goals, like you said. So why not reward those youth players?
100%, and I think you've got to realise how good these girls link up. I think they all play outdoor together as well, I think for their NTC program, so they obviously all have really good chemistry together. Tatem Spencer at the back now, looking for Crystal Jade Brook, but Buxy's all over that one. Baker has come back on. She's given that ball away. Sam Brady. And Baker wins it back. Spencer, it's a bit of a turnover central here. Brady looks up, gives it to Spencer. Spencer one-on with Baker. Baker using all of her experience, doing very well. Waltman, Buxy. And Coral Buxy, I think Baker thought Nisette was going to be there and she wasn't. Spencer, Brady. Brady off the right, and that's an easy one from Becky Maslaria. Buxy, good ball forward there to Nisette. Nisette turns Brady, but Crystal J. Brook wins it. It's good second defending there from the West Coast Cobras.
Yes, very quick to come back. As much as the Cobras have been holding possession, they haven't actually had many shots. So maybe they need to get their shooting boots back on and actually test the keeper. Of course, any shot on target is a threat. Any goalkeeper can make a mistake, so we have to see if they can.
Here we go. Crystal J. Brooks just ran the whole court, and it's fallen to Spencer, and Becky Mazzeo with a double save, a triple save. That was some goalkeeping from the Western Devils number 1. That was unreal from her. But Crystal J. Brook, let's talk about that. Running the length of the court, sold 2 dummies. That's what the West Coast Cobras need. You were saying they haven't had many shots, and they've just had 3 in about 2 seconds, and Frankie Murray's header's deflected over, and the Western Devils have called their first time out of the game. So you can see there the danger that the West Coast Cobras do have. Obviously, the Devils have probably come into the game, I'd say, the last 10 minutes. Obviously, they have got the 1-goal advantage, but they've come into it in the last 5-10, but the West Coast Cobras can just turn it on just like that.
Yeah, that's certainly the case, and I think what's really important is West Coast with the Western Devils is that they're actually using those small tactics to get the extra time. I noticed earlier that they would kick the ball out when it went out, etc., just to get those extra seconds to recover, to get back. All those little details really make a difference and shows their experience.
Yeah, 100%, Ben. I couldn't have said it better myself, and I think we're just listening to the Western Devils team talk on the near side. They're saying more of the same. Laura Waltman is having a chat, just saying that almost some of the other girls are saying we should just play through Laura. It's not a bad idea. It's a bit like the Phoenix with Ali Milham. They tend to look for him a lot, and on the Western Devils side, they tend to look for her a lot, which, again, it's not a bad idea because, in my opinion, she's the best women's player around at the moment in WA. Yes,
and if it's not broke, don't fix it. They've got this far. Continue on.
100%, and obviously no Nell Clayton, and she's normally the one that I wouldn't say go through in terms of they always go through Waltman, but Nell Clayton picks up the goals, and she's the captain for the Western Devils, so...
Yes, a big miss.
Yeah,
she contributed 7 goals and 7 assists, the second most in the Western Devils. A massive miss to have for a grand final.
Yep, but Laura Waltman certainly stepping up at the moment. Here she is at the back. Emmy Yillas, as we were saying, we wanted her to get back on, and she's checked in now. The number 7 for the West Coast Cobras, which she's definitely one to watch. A bit of a live wire player and very, very experienced. I know she's played for South Perth and the Northern Hawks, so she's done it up and down the West Coast for some time.
And of course we have Cochrane on as well.
Yeah, Shelby Cochrane. She was the semi-final hero, scoring 5 over 2 legs. She isn't normally known for her goal-scoring prowess, but she turns it on when it mattered last week, and can she do it again this? Jade Brook, Yillas, Nina Borman robs Yillas. Yillas probably just got caught pondering on the ball there. Waltman to the back post on the set. You can see she wasn't happy with that one. That was a gilt-edged opportunity.
Yes, you'd probably put a bet on Nossen scoring that. But
yeah, you would. And that's why I don't bet anymore. Murray, Baker robs her. Borman, she's happy to calm the game down in the set. Nice one-touch futsal there from the Western Devils. Great ball down the line there from Laura Waltman. Borman was just on her heels a little bit, but that's good play from the Western Devils. You can see the one-touch. They can just turn it on. Yillas. Frankie Murray to Yillas. So they've got the experienced girls on the court now, the Western Devils. I thought if the youth doesn't work, let's try the seniors.
Yes, and it seems like the seniors have switched back to that 3-1 there, Luke. So it seems like they're doing the 3-1 with the seniors and the 4-0 with the juniors.
Yeah, maybe not a bad idea because obviously the younger girls have got the legs to run all day, where the experienced girls, they know what they're doing. Lauren Baker with a back flick there. Some sort of Ronaldo chop variant. Annie Leyland, throw. That's probably not a great idea to just throw it straight to Laura Waltman. You probably would only want to go long when she's at the top, not the back. She'll mop everything up. Waltman, great ball there to Nasette. Nasette holds it up, gives it back to Lauren Baker. So the Western Devils happy to slow the game down a little bit. And when you have only got a few on the bench, it's a good idea. Borman, she won't want to get caught in it there. Frankie Murray, that's great hustle. That's what she does, Frankie Murray. They got an opportunity here. It's a 3-on-3, but Jade Brooks' pass lets her down. They've still got possession, though. Yelas to Cochrane. Cochrane looks up, gives it back to Jade Brook. Great touch there from Frankie Murray off the right, and that shot goes wide, but that's better from the West Coast Cobras, creating a little bit more opportunity. Rosaria rolls it out to Nina Borman. Borman, she's been caught in it 1 or 2 times now. You can see Frankie Murray. Someone did once compare to N'Golo Kante, not in looks, but in the way she plays. Great throw there from Rosaria to Nasette. That's great target play from the big number 4. Crystal J. Brock did just well defending her, but you can see the Western Devils, they've got that opportunity to go long when they need to. Great play there. It's a great set play. Borman off the left. Straight into Andy Leyland's hands. Yelas at the back. Switches the play to Cochrane. Cochrane to Yelas. They'd be wise to go to the target. Now, that's a great ball from Yelas. Cochrane, she probably should have gone forward there. There was a 2-on-1 opportunity. Yelas to Jade Brook. Jade Brook gives it away. Waltman comes out with it. Laura Waltman, that was a good idea. Maybe on an outdoor pitch you're getting that, but the futsal court's just a little bit too small. And Sarah Ranieri steps on for probably only the 4th time this season. I know she was away for the majority of the season, so she's turned up for the big game. That's what you love to see.
Of course, a massive player for the Cobras as well. I know she does a lot of coaching for the Cobras, so very experienced.
Yep, 100%. I know she does a lot of the junior coaching. Bucky Maslaria there does well again. Here's Sarah Ranieri. I don't think she'll play much because I can't imagine she's very match fit, but while she's on, she will cause a little bit of a threat. Western Devils are playing this target player very well, and Nasette obviously very, very experienced up there. So we were saying that Waltman, that's probably why she's sitting at the back, because they've got Nasette to do that. Great play there, and it's come through to Leyland. Leyland goes short. Jade Brook at the back. Tries to go past Nasette. Touch lets her down, and there she is again. Laura Waltman mopping up. Kim McCartney puts that one into touch.
I think the Cobras have been wasting possession a lot in the last 5 or so minutes. They need to keep possession to keep the Devils working, and at the moment they're turning it over too cheaply.
Yeah, 100%, Ben. I think the West Coast Cobras almost have got to play themselves back into the game. They're starting to rush a little bit now, and it's a little bit unnecessary. Well done there from Konstanabali. She defends well. She's just checked in for Yelas. So again, Yelas not on for very long. Only a short stint. McCartney into Nasette. 45 seconds remaining. McCartney, that's straight into the hands of Leyland. And there's a 3-on-1 opportunity if they can use it. Leyland slows the game down again. Konstanabali. Murray, that's a great little backwards flick. Nina Borman defends well. You can see there, Leyland shouting press. Nasette to McCartney, through the legs of Cochrane. That was nice from Kim McCartney. Waltman. Murray hassling her again. McCartney, she goes long. Konstanabali, they want to get a shot off here if they can. 4 seconds, that's going to wrap up the first half. And that was a frantic half of futsal, Ben. The West Coast Cobras and the Western Devils, 1-0 to the Western Devils, courtesy of a Laura Waltman solo goal. But it's been a game of not many opportunities, really, not many clear-cut opportunities. How would you describe that first half?
Cagey. Cagey is how I'd describe it. Both teams coming out with chances and both teams missing very obvious chances. But if we look at the statistics here, they're very close. Completed passes for the Devils 104, Cobras 130. And we have possession with 52% towards the Cobras and 47% towards the Devils. So a very close game in terms of possession. What are your thoughts so far, Luke?
Yeah, I probably couldn't have described it any better. Cagey is exactly how I'd put it. I think that the West Coast Cobras, like we were saying, probably dominated the first few minutes, although they did concede. I think they've just got to almost play their way back into the game. They're starting to rush a little bit. Obviously, you've seen Crystal J. Brooke did run through them all, but then she tried to do it twice and then a third time and it stopped working. So you've got to probably adapt to each situation. And I'd say, like we were saying, the 4-0 looked like it was working at the start, so maybe you go back to that. But on the side of the Western Devils, they're playing probably a smart game, I'd say, with only 2 on the bench. They're almost playing the long game. Obviously, Laura Waltman being the main lady on the court.
Yeah,
but then they're using the target well with April and Nisette, so they've got 2 options, whether they want to go through Waltman or they want to go long straight to target. So it's good.
Yes, and I think they're using Waltman on the break a lot, and I believe that's when you're 1-0 up, you might as well, because it's going to open up that game when they go to counter-attack and things like that. Of course, myself, a West Ham fan, I'm very much familiar with a counter-attacking style of football / futsal, and see a little Moyes game coming out here.
Yeah, so does that mean that April and Nisette is Mikel Antonio?
Oh, might be so.
So we've got Kante and Antonio on the court. So...
and maybe we got Laura Waltman and Jared Bowen.
Yeah, Jared Bowen. That's probably another good comparison. So, if you're enjoying this game live, give us some second half score predictions, and then we'll just do a quick preview of the next game, the big one, the Northern Hawks and the Phoenix Futsal Club. The Northern Hawks making their 7th consecutive grand final, and the Phoenix making, I think, their first men's Supa-Liga game, grand final in some time. I can't remember the last time they were in the big dance, so stick around for that one. And I think the teams are going to start coming on momentarily. It looks like referee Taz Paraskevas is getting a little bit antsy on the sideline.
What are your predictions for the next game, Luke?
Oh, well, let's not talk about the next game.
I think... unfortunately for the for the Phoenix Futsal Club, the Cobras actually demonstrated how to keep Ali Milhelm out of the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of given the textbook answer for the Hawks and how to play against them. Yeah,
I mean, I know myself, I was very disappointed we did lose last week, but I was very proud of the boys that how we defended Ali Milhelm. Obviously, I think he may have scored like 18 or something goals this season. Beat me to the Golden Boot, which, again, I won't talk too much about. But yeah, if the Northern Hawks can shut down Milhelm, they almost just shut down the supply line to any goals for the Phoenix. And then, obviously, you've got to get past Dan Fumato in the goal, who I think conceded 7 or 8 goals this season, which is an amazing feat. So, definitely one to look forward to coming up in about 45 minutes' time. And you can see now the girls are making their way back onto the court for the last 20 minutes of the Supa-Liga women's season. It's going to be Spencer, Silver, Cochrane, and Sam Brady on the court.
A very youthful start here, Luke.
Yeah, very youthful side. Cochrane and the kids, I'd say. And for the Western Devils, we've got Nisette, Nina Borman, Coral Buxey, and Kim McCartney. So there we go. I was wrong. No Laura Waltman on the court for the first time this game. Probably getting her 2-minute break and she'll be back on. But the West Coast Cobras have got to come out all guns blazing for this first few moments where Waltman isn't on the court and try and get their goal.
I had a feeling she would come off. She came off in the semi-finals.
Okay.
It was a very different game. It was less close, I'd say, but still important to note.
Buxey gives it back to Nisette. Nisette, that pass lets her down. You can see the Western Devils, though, they do fizz balls into each other, so they obviously trust each other's touch when it does come to fruition. It is really good to watch, but you don't want to get overconfidence in games like this and start trying to ping the ball around when it's so tight and cagey. Silver, the back now, gives it to Sam Brady. And what I enjoy about the West Coast Cobras young team, we'll come back to that thought in a second, Tatem Spencer defends well, is As I was saying, here we go. Sam Brady's going the other way. Oh, she slowed down probably at the wrong moment there, but what I was going to say is the West Coast Cobras young girls play with such freedom. They almost play with, oh, well, they're not scared to make a mistake, which some of the older players can do, which is one thing I really, really appreciate when watching them play. Obviously, Gus Fontana, the West Coast Cobras coach, who actually took over from myself. Obviously, I didn't do a good enough job, couldn't get them to a grand final last year, and he's done an excellent job bringing in the youth. Sam Brady robs Buxy, and here we go. Sam Brady showing her pace. Will she have a shot to the back post? And Shelby Cochran checked in, and she should have gone to the back post, and it would have been a tap-in for her. There you can see there, and there's no Waltman on. The pace of Sam Brady is something they've got to watch out for. In the set, again, great hold-up play to Buxy. Buxy's ball lets her down.
I've got to say, I think the Cobras got to send it a bit more. I think they've got to send more players up, and really, they seem to be slowing down on that transition, especially attacking-wise. They've got to really use that and exploit that pace that those young players have.
Yeah, sometimes, as I was saying that, sometimes obviously when you come forward, you slow down because you can't run as fast with the ball, but that's when you've really got to give it almost everything, especially in futsal where it's roll-ups, subs. Spencer, that was a good idea. But Brady, she almost slows the ball down when she's running through the middle of it. If she can keep up the speed that she has. Obviously, she's a very, very quick player. She can cause 3-on-1s by herself. Tatem Spencer here at the back. Brady's checked out, and the live wire Konstanabali's checked in. Cochran to Spencer. And they've given the ball away through the middle in the set. Coral Buxy. That's great play. Kim McCartney to Nazette. One-on-one with Cochran. Cochran defends well. They've hustled back here well, the Cobras. McCartney, oh, that wasn't too far away. But you can see the danger that the Western Devils do poise and possess when they come forward with the ball.
The Cobras did extremely well to get back there. That counter-attack was shut down within like 2 seconds almost.
Yeah, it was a 3v2 at one point, and they turned into a 4v3 very, very quickly. Great piercing ball there from Konstanabali. Silver's been robbed. Borman gives it through to McCartney. McCartney one-on-one with Konstanabali again. Gives it to Nina Borman. And well defended there again by Tatem Spencer. So the Cobras just trying to absorb the pressure, but they're almost being their own worst enemies, giving the ball away in dangerous areas. One thing that I thought they did so well to avoid last week against the Northern Hawks. It's going to be open to Zet. Down the line to Borman. Konstanabali did well. Buxy, that's not going to cut it there from the West Coast Cobras. Playing with fire a little bit at the back here. Spencer did well in the end. And well defended there from McCartney.
Most time in the transition, I've actually noticed that the Western Devils are now sticking 2 back instead of 1, which you traditionally do. I think they've tried to see this game out.
Yeah,
maybe they're
possibly.
Seeing how things
100%.
how the tides are turning.
Yeah, and it looks like they are playing on the counter-attack a little bit, which isn't a bad idea against the West Coast Cobras because they do tend to almost send everyone forward. They just want to attack, which is it's an exciting way to play, but it's not the most sufficient and probably
risky is the word I'd use.
It's a very risky way of playing, especially in a grand final, but they got here. Why change now?
Exactly.
And the set down the line, it's a great ball. Kim McCartney, the number 9 off the right. Annie Leyland, great save. Getting down low to her right foot, but the danger's not cleared. It is now. Konstanabali, she's defending extremely well here. Obviously, one of the main attacking players. She was another one who scored 4 goals for the Cobras this season.
I guess you consider the Cobras' style of play a very Spursy way of play.
Yeah. Ange ball, Gus ball. Konstanabali unlucky there.
We'll see if they can break the curse of Spurs not winning any trophies.
Waltman is back on. Buxy back to McCartney. McCartney down the line. Spencer defends that one well. Getting in front of Nasset. That's a bit of a mismatch, so I think the Western Devils probably could exploit that just height-wise. Nasset using a body, but Laura Waltman! And that could be the sealer. Laura Waltman off the left. That was a great finish from the number 5. We said she was the player to watch, and you can see why. Her first touch set her up beautifully. It was a great ball from Nazette to Waltman, whose touch left Konstanabali for dead. And Laura Waltman, you don't save those. That was where the Spiders sleep. The West Coast Cobras, I can't see them scoring twice. It's going to be something amazing if they can get themselves back into this game.
Yes, I think they failed to capitalise when Laura Waltman was off, and as soon as she came back on, she made instant impact.
She did, and you can see why we put the spotlight on her before the game. The set waiting up top here, so they're almost cheating the Western Devils, leaving one forward, and against the style of play the West Coast Cobras play, if you can rob them, you're going to be one-on-one with the goalkeeper time and time again, so not a bad tactic from the Western Devils girls. The set to nobody.
How long do you think it'll be before the West Coast Cobras attempt fifth man, or will they not attempt fifth man?
I think they definitely will. I know they do train it, so I reckon with about 8 to go, if the scoreline is the same, they will pull out the fifth man. I know they've got Ranieri, Cochrane and Annie Leyland herself can play the fifth man. So maybe that's why they've got Ranieri on the bench to pull out the fifth man.
And what sort of fifth man do they line up with?
Oh, they always play the 3-2. Normally having Constantine or Cochrane dictating the game at the back. But the Western Devils they're striction enough to defend it well, so they'll have to pull something very special to get back in this game with the fifth man play as well. But that's what the grand finals are all about. Waltman has it now. She'll get us back underway. Down the line to Nasette. Nasette, who hasn't taken much of a break this game. She's been very, very impactful. The big number 4. Causing a bit of a threat. That's a great ball from Constantine. Murray received it, but again, Laura Waltman was there. And I'd say she's probably paying about $1.02 for the man of the match and get MVP honours. Frankie Murray, that was dangerous from Murray. It was a great piercing ball there from Constantine. Muslera is going to get us back underway. Constantine.
We see a full experienced Cobras team come out now.
Yep, trying to rely on the old girls to get them back in it. McCartney, that's a weak shot. Leyland, another time that she's thrown it long. Probably not the time to do it, like we said in the first half when Laura Waltman's marshalling the back. I can't see any of the Cobras girls really getting in front of her and winning the ball. Laura Waltman sells Murray for a hot dog, and she goes down the line. Baker could wrap it up, and that ball to the back post let it down. Actually, I say that Constantine got something on it, so sorry, Lauren, maybe that was a good ball. McCartney to Waltman. Well defended there from Frankie Murray. This is a replay of the grand final from this time last year, and the Western Devils got up 4-0 that time, so it looks like history could be on its way of repeating itself.
Yes.
And I was the coach that day, so I'm not taking much credit for that result. McCartney. Great switch of play to Buxy off the right. That shot lets her down, but that's great set play there from the Western Devils. They've pulled out a few set plays thus far. Maybe something they work on at training. Who knows? Constantine. Oh, that was a great idea from Constantine. Emma Yelas with a great run, but the final ball let her down, unfortunately. It's a good press from the Cobras. Laura Waltman mopped up, probably did just about enough. Constantine goes back to Crystal J. Bruck. It's a great first touch. Coming forward off the right, and she's still going on. She stabs at it and puts it wide, but you can see Jade Brooks, she might be the one to get them back in it. She was a women's Supa-Liga B player up until this season, but she's been great for the West Coast Cobras. Such a lively player. Her first touch, she's very, very fast, always positive going forward. So when you're 2-0 down, she's probably the exact player you want on the court. Constantine to Brook to Yelas. Yelas switches the play to Constantine. It's gone into touch, and that's going to be a Cobras ball. Constantine. Yelas has it again. Tries to go past Waltman. She's battling for it, but Waltman wins out.
Probably not the player you want to try and one-on-one, I've got to admit.
Yeah, I mean, I like the confidence, but yeah, probably not the greatest idea. Baker's being pressed hard by Murray, and she's done well. Frankie Murray, Lauren Baker did just about enough. And that's a great ball from Baker. Watman could wrap it up. And a slide. But what a ball that was from Lauren Baker. That was very, very good. You can see the quality that Baker has on that right foot. Brooke to Konstanabali. Konstanabali went to target, but Baker was all over that one. Konstanabali has it at the back now.
Of course, earlier today we had a very full crowd here, Luke, and it seems like it's filling up again for the men's Supa-Liga Grand Final.
Yeah, so they've come for the women's, and it looks like some more are coming for the men's, and that's unfortunate. That's an own goal from Jade Brooke. The Cobras are going to call a timeout, but that came through a Laura Waltman chip. Jade Brooke probably didn't need to head that one. Probably no communication there. That's what's let the Cobras down, and they've called their timeout. They need 3 goals just to level this game back up. I think it's going to be a bit of a tough ask.
Yes, and it seems like we will start to see the 5th man come out.
Yeah, I can imagine they're going to go straight for the 5th man now. I mean, there's nothing to lose. It doesn't matter, there's no goal difference in grand finals.
And do you think that the 3-2 5th man will work today?
Well, the only positive I can see for the West Coast Cobras playing the 5th man is that the Western Devils, like we've said time and time again, have only had 2 on the bench. So is it possible they might run out of legs? It is hard defending the 5th man, especially for 8 minutes. 8 minutes is a long time in futsal. So if they can get one back, the West Coast Cobras, probably in the first minute or 2 of playing it, there's a massive chance they can get back in this game. But the Western Devils, they do defend it well. Normally, I think Waltman will probably sit at the back, and they'll have McCartney on the set at the top and the others on the flank. It's all smiles on the Western Devils bench. They might think they've got it wrapped up.
I almost had a conversation earlier in the week arguing with a fellow Curtin player that the 3-2 5th man, at least in the men's division, actually doesn't work anymore. Most teams have developed so far, futsal has developed so far that now the 3-2 5th man is very unlikely to work. You have to vary it to some sort of 2-3 or the tree formation or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
So we'll see if this extends out to the women's game as well.
Well, we're saying that. They're not even playing the 5th man, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean, the 5th man's pulled out that often. If you play it the same way, teams do adapt to it. I know the first time I seen 5th man, I was like, what's going on? But when you play it more and more, and when you defend it more and more, it becomes easier. So hopefully West Coast Cobras, if they do play it, pull out some sort of variation. Brady's been robbed there from Borman.
And of course, as a current player myself, I'm very used to playing 5th man, being behind most games.
Baker. That was a nice little flick pass there, looking for Waltman. Goes into touch. Brady. Jade Brooke. She'll want to make up for that goal that she unfortunately put into her own net. Murray. Brady's being hustled hard there from McCartney, but she goes past 2 of them, and her final ball lets her down. McCartney to Baker. Baker to Waltman. Waltman switches it to Borman. Waltman. McCartney. Brady did well there. Well defended there from Jade Brooke. Western Devils will probably be wise to start slowing this game down at any opportunity. It is possible they might start to run out of legs. Good pressure there from Murray again. Brady does well. Cochrane settles the game down. Jade Brooke.
Out of the youth today, who would you say has had the best game?
I'd say Sam Brady's probably been the most influential, so she's played the most minutes. But to be honest, she hasn't been able to do much. The big bodies of the Western Devils have used the size to their advantage and their experience too, I imagine. Waltman, another great play, but she's been dispossessed there.
I've got to say I've been extremely impressed with the young players' checks. Very much selling their players all the time, and a very underrated skill in futsal. Everyone glamorises the take-ons, etc., but the checks can get you as much time on the ball as you really make. You know, you see players like Jake Pizzuto really exploiting them in the men's team, so it's good to see that the young players are picking up on this skill.
Yeah, Jake Pizzuto, the man who checks 24/7. McCartney at the top now, gives it to Waltman. Waltman switches the play to Borman. Baker's checked out and Nasset is checked in. Tatem Spencer, so they've brought the youth back on. Will we see EJ Silver again? And
I've got to say though, Tatem Spencer, one of the smallest players on their team as a target, is not the decision I would make. I'll certainly say that.
yeah, an interesting tactic to say the least. Maybe they're trying to pull a bit of a reverse psychology.
Or maybe they're talking about her, or maybe they're planning on using her pressing ability as a small player potentially. But
Yep.
certainly not the decision I'd make.
Yeah, perhaps. Silver, I'm still very surprised that the Cobras have elected against playing the fifth man. I mean, 5 minutes left in a grand final, and the way they're playing, they're not going to score 3 goals, so they've got to pull out the fifth man very, very soon if they're to even give themselves a chance. Still no movement on the bench. Cochrane, and that pretty much sums up the West Coast Cobras night. Just the final ball, final touch, letting them down in dangerous situations.
Yes, that's a good way to summarise it.
Yeah, the Western Devils have been good value for this win, taking their chances when they come. And Masleri in goal's been standout as well, saving anything the West Coast Cobras have thrown at her. Cochrane, what a ball that is. Spencer, one-on-one, goes past Masseria. Spencer, apron to Zed, off the line. That was exceptional, and as we were saying, they just can't get past them, and once they get past Masseria, I should have said, Nasset was there. And they've finally pulled out the fifth man. Leyland. Spencer to Silver. They've got to calm it down. Sam Brady off the right end. That's hit the side netting. I actually thought that one had gone in for a split second. McCartney. She can just slow it down here. Gives it straight to Borman. Borman to Nazette. She can wrap it up. That lets her left foot lets her down, but who are we to say anything about her left foot? She just cleared a miraculous ball off the line. They're going to try and press the West Coast Cobras fifth man. Borman did exceptionally well there, but the Cobras have got out of it. Spencer. Ranieri's been robbed, but she wins it back, and she wins it back again. That's great hustle from the big number 3. And here we go. They're going to go for the fifth man. They're going to try and press again the Western Devils. That's bold. Brady, she gives it away through the middle. Waltman can wrap the game up. Gives it to McCartney. And that's all she wrote. Kim McCartney wins the game for the Western Devils. That's 4-0. And what a finish that was from Kim McCartney off the left. Waltman probably... Well, she gets the assist, but she got a little bit fortunate. She actually kicked the ball into her own foot. You'll see it here. That somehow went to McCartney. And off the left into the empty net. Kim McCartney puts the last dagger in the hearts of the West Coast Cobras against her old team. And that is going to be that, I'd say. 2 minutes 45 remaining. There may be stop clock, but I can't see them scoring 4.
Can't see them scoring 4, but they're certainly still in it. 2 minutes is an extremely long time in our futsal, so we'll see what they can do.
Yep, I know that's another thing Farney McHale has always said. 2 minutes is an exceptionally long time in futsal, young man. EJ Silva, that's actually going to be a turnover there from Konstanabali. Waltman, Buxy to Waltman to McCartney. McCartney being pressed from Konstanabali. That's going to be a Devils side ball, so we've just entered stop clock territory. 2 minutes remaining. They've left Apron Nazette all their own. Tatem Spencer luckily got a foot to that one. Buxy to Waltman. She's undeniably been the player of the game. Laura Waltman, the number 5. She always does seem to step up when it counts. Ranieri wanting to get the fifth man going again. She was close to using all 4 seconds, probably used about 3.9. Silva Down the line to Tatem Spencer. She's got time. Great save from Mazerio again. And Waltman, Konstanabali defends that well. But as you can see, they're actually having a lot of... Well, they've had 3 chances there on the far side. And maybe if they'd done it a little bit earlier, it could have been a different story.
Yes, they've got to be very careful in this transition, though, to not concede more.
Yeah.
Giving the ball away very cheaply to easy shots.
Buxy, that back roll. Nothing doing. Leyland, that throw lets her down, gives it to Waltman through the middle. You can see the Cobras girls are starting to run out of legs. Probably what happens when you're down in a grand final with no chance of coming back. What a ball that is from Waltman. Buxy to the back post. Annie Leyland brave. Nissette was battling hard. And it's come through to Waltman. Leyland wants to press. Buxy to McCartney. Silva. They've just gone back into their formation, the Western Devils. Ranieri tries to go for the spectacular. Mazer is there again. And that's a foul. Fontana wants Ranieri off. She says no. Waltman. One thing I've just remembered, the Western Devils have still got a timeout, and I really hope they don't take it. Konstanabali, Buxy, Waltman.
If I was the Western Devils coach, I would save the timeout and in case the Cobras get a goal to reset their momentum, but we'll see if that ever comes out.
Yeah, with 19 seconds left, I can't see that really mattering. Silva, Konstanabali. That pass lets her down. Lauren Baker. That would have put the cherry on top. Ranieri's checked out. Emma Yelas is checked in. Probably the last sub of the game. Jade Brook. Not many options. And she's given it away to Buxy. Buxy to Nissette. And that's probably going to be that. 2 seconds remaining. All that's left is for Leyland to throw this one into touch. Leyland throws long. And Lauren Baker's there. And there we go. The Western Devils, for the 4th time in 5 seasons, win the Women's Supa-Liga A Grand Final. Running out 4-0 winners over the West Coast Cobras. Laura Waltman wrapping up Women of the Match, scoring 2. Kim McCartney getting the other, and an own goal from Crystal Jade Brook. We will be back in a second for a player interview. And we are here with the winning captain of the Western Devils, Laura Waltman. Laura, can you please sum that game up for us quickly?
Yeah, it was very exciting. We were down our captain and playmaker, Nelly and Andy, but we all pulled it together and got the win.
Obviously, standing in captain for the absent Nell Clayton, you got yourself 2 goals and an assist, which I seen it kick your other foot, so I'll give you the assist anyway. So how do you feel that game went for you guys?
Yeah, really good. They pressed us quite hard, and so we maybe struggled a little bit in the first half, but we really found our stride in the second half, getting the next 3 goals, so can't complain.
And final question, how would you sum up the season for the Western Devils?
I think we did pretty good. I think we went down 1 game in the season, which can't really ask for much more, but yeah, we're looking forward to next season. It's going to be a lot of tough competition, so training for that starts soon.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Laura. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned. We'll be back in a few moments for the Men's Super Liga A game.